offshore wind, solar. Dominion Energy is a leader in the clean energy transition. We're dedicated to providing reliable, affordable, safe, and clean energy as we support and invest in our communities. Dominion Energy is building a clean energy future. Actions speak louder. Welcome to Actions Speak Louder, highlighting Dominion Energy's clean energy projects and community support. I'm Peggy Fox, Dominion Energy Media and Community Relations Manager. Today we're talking about something that can save your life. It's our #1 core value at Dominion. It's safety. Here at Dominion Energy, we put safety first. Thinking about safety and putting safety measures in place for yourself and your family can keep you safe and even save your life. And we'll have some important tips for you and show you how we keep safe at Dominion Energy. My guest here is Dominion Energy's top safety manager, Mike Powers, manager of power delivery and distribution safety. Mike, thanks so much for being here.
Peggy, thanks for having me.
So our mission is to provide safe, reliable energy, but safety is first. Why is safety so critical?
So obviously with electricity, it's become part of all of our lives. So electricity is very predictable, but it's also very unforgiving. So if one of our workers or somebody happens to come in contact with a down power line, for example, very unforgiving. So we want to make sure our safety message is out there.
And very dangerous. I mean,
it can be.
It can be dangerous.
It can be, yes. Yep.
So we have lots of safety gear. I have safety gear for if I'm ever out and about at a place where we have outages and there are line workers working, but line workers have specific gear that keeps them safe.
They do, yeah. So the first thing is we have a very extensive training program that we have at our Chester location, and our linemen go through a very extensive training program. And so they have extra special gear and they have special tools and equipment along with that training. And I've brought along with me senior safety specialist from the Northern Virginia area, Gary Pultz, and he's going to model for us some of the equipment that we have. So
this is the first on Action Speak Louder.
Okay,
we have
great.
a model.
So
Thank you for coming in, Gary.
So Gary,
you look awesome.
Thank you. So you can see that Gary has some special equipment on there. Here, you want to hold up for Gary? Yeah, I will. So Gary's gonna talk about some of the tools and equipment that he has, and explain how we use them.
This is our grip all stick. It's something we use to work hot wires with, down wires with. Anytime something's energized, we have to wear all our PPE as far as gloves and sleeves, hard hat safety glasses. We got EH boots, fire retardant clothing.
What does EH mean?
Electrical hazard boots. So they can withstand some electric. But our goal is always to stay away from the electric until it's tag tested and grounded.
Okay. And of course the hard hat.
Hard hat, and then we have the rubber protective equipment that you'll see on the line. If you see a line crew out there working, you will see us have plenty of this on the line. That's another level of protection for us.
Excellent. And the safety vest so that you're seen.
Absolutely.
I mean,
it's a reflective vest, and the public's out there, and they're busy.
Right.
Even when we're busy, so we got to make sure we're seen.
You know, the general public can take some of these measures, like wearing bright colors. Where if you're out just walking, riding a bike, I'm just thinking, how can you incorporate some of our safety measures into what everyday life is to keep safe?
Absolutely, Peggy. So just yesterday morning, I was driving. It was before daybreak, and I saw some of our tree trimming crews that were out there getting ready to get set up, and they had some of the reflective gear on, and it really just lit up as I was driving up. So for the folks that are watching, if they're out walking the dog, jogging, please wear highly visible clothes with reflective strips, because it really makes a huge difference.
The number of times that I see people walking in the street wearing dark colored clothing in the dark, it's just, I just want to stop the car and say, please, wear something brightly colored. And reflective is also key at nighttime, right?
It really does. It pops when those headlights hit it. You can really see it.
And it can save your life. So tell me again, what do you call you?
It's called grip all stick.
Grip all.
Shotgun grip all stick.
Okay, and what do you do with it?
We use it to work hot power lines. Apply stuff on and off the line.
Okay.
See the hook right there?
Yeah.
In and out.
And what you're safe because, you're not going to get electrocuted because why? You have the gloves?
Well, it's all personal protective equipment.
Yes.
The best resource we have is our training. Mike mentioned that.
Exactly.
But secondly, we have the protective cover up. Then we have the hot stick, and then we have our rubber gloves and sleeves. So we have several line of defenses that we put out there to make sure that we're protected from harm's way.
And hard hat, I know, is required anytime you're out on the scene.
Absolutely.
Anywhere. What's the minimal gear that you wear when you just would show up to an event?
So bare minimum for us would be, like you see Gary wearing his hard hat, safety glasses, cut-resistant work gloves. Our crews wear cut-resistant work gloves, and then the work boots that he's wearing. And also our crews that are out there on the job site. So Gary's got special gear on from head to toe there, from his hard hat. That's an E-rated hard hat for electricity.
Okay.
For working around electric lines. He's got special anti-fog resistant safety glasses that are ANSI rated.
Oh, that's required. Anti-fog resistance.
Right.
Okay.
So and then of course all the other gear he's got on, but bare minimum: hard hat, safety glasses, work gloves. Now he's wearing leather gloves, but those he's wearing rubber gloves, but the leather we call those gauntlets that are over top. And they're basically similar to the leather work gloves.
Oh, you have other gloves under?
Just the leather gauntlet protects the rubber glove from puncture.
Got it.
Right.
Oh,
so
I see.
Just like you would your work gloves, that leather gauntlet is over top of his rubber glove to protect that rubber glove from.
What is the rubber glove? You really have it on underneath there?
There you go. So,
You can see it.
Oh, I see.
right?
The rubber's underneath there. It's part of it.
Yeah,
Right.
It's
that's
different.
the main feature. That's the safety
Oh, I
feature.
got it. The rubber is the safety feature. That's the protection.
and we
of
test
the
those
electricity.
we test those gloves before
Okay.
we use them every time. We actually visually inspect them and air test them.
And of
before
course,
we use them
all of
each
this
time.
are people. They're trained. They know about all the equipment. But again, I think that the general public can learn because often when there's storms and wires are down, people don't realize how dangerous those downed wires are.
They absolutely can be. And you talked about before, so we build all our lines, here you go, Gary.
Yeah.
We build all our lines to meet
Thank
or
you, Gary.
exceed the ANSI.
Nice job.
Thank you, Gary. And I know what a lot of people are thinking, and no, we didn't hire in a professional model. He's actually the real
Yeah,
deal.
I know. He's gonna ask for more money now, I think.
Yeah, he's worth it.
Exactly.
So we build our lines to meet or exceed the ANSI standards. So they're, when you're riding down the roads, the most visible ones are the ones that you see what are overhead lines. And they're up out of the harm's way and they're safe. But sometimes they can become hazardous or dangerous
Yeah.
is when, first of all, if somebody's working, say, with an extended ladder or aluminum ladder that's conductive. And where people get in trouble all the time is they forget to look up and look for those power lines, and they're carrying an aluminum ladder, which extends their reach by a good distance. And sometimes they make the mistake of trying to move that ladder while it's extended. So if they're working on a two-story home and they're trying to move that ladder while it's extended and they forget to look up and they lose control of the ladder and it falls back, that's where people get in trouble. Another time they can become hazardous, when you think about it, is in a vehicle accident. So a car hits a pole and the lines can come down. That creates some unique hazards there because the lines, which were once up in a safe position, can now come down. The pole is broken. The wires can come down on top of the car. So that creates its own set of hazards.
And I know we actually have a video about that. I'm sorry we're not running that now, but tell people if by chance they ever get in an accident where there are wires across their, because it could happen even if there's not a vehicle accident, there might be if there's a storm, but if there are wires on your car, how do you get out?
Well, the first thing is, if there's wires on your car, what we tell them is stay in the car. Because that car is going to provide a level of protection for you.
Yeah, call 911.
Call 911.
Yeah.
That's the first thing, right? So call 911, get the professional help. They'll get our crews, like you saw Gary come out, and they're trained. They have the right tools and equipment, aerial lifts. I can talk some more about those if you want, to come out and make sure we de-energize that line and ground it to make it safe so we can get you out safely.
You mentioned people working on houses. I remember talking to a contractor once. I needed the side of my house painted, and it's right where the line comes in.
Right.
And this contractor was willing to just paint it himself without any. I said, no way, we're not going to do that. We're going to call Dominion Energy, and they came. People came out and put rubber around it so that it was safe. Right. But it really struck me that this person was willing to do it when I realized that would be very dangerous. I would never let anyone do that. But since he said that, I started thinking like maybe there's companies out there that don't understand how dangerous it is and how all you have to do is call us and we can come help.
That's right. So Peggy, just like you said in the beginning of this, and it's great that you're doing this show because, and I'm excited to be on here talking about electrical safety because sometimes people just don't get,
Right.
they don't get that training and throughout their life, whether it's, they're working for a company or they didn't hear about it when they were growing up or anything like that, the hazards that can be associated with electricity. So there could be a nick in that the conductor going to your house that's feeding your home. That's enough electrical power to feed your entire home, right? You think about, all the appliances in your house, your TV, your air conditioner, all that stuff, the dryer in your home. So that painter that you mentioned could be in contact with something, and maybe there's a nick in the insulation, because who knows how long it's been there, right? So if there's a nick in the insulation, he or she touches that, and they may be in contact with something else. That's how they could get hurt. So you absolutely did the right thing. If you're going to be doing some work around your home, that's one of the things you can do. Like we talked about the ladder, make sure you look up and see if there's any overhead lines in the area. Know where they are. Here's one that people don't think about because it's not so obvious, right? Things that are out of sight, are kind of out of mind, just like the old saying goes.
Yeah.
Is you may be typically it's a newer subdivision where the lines are all run underground. So you may it's out of sight, it's out of mind. You turn the switch on, the electricity is there working for you. And that's the way we want it.
Right.
But if you're going to be doing any work in your yard or digging, keep in mind that there's all this, there's all these underground utilities, and one of them is going to be your power lines. There's also water lines and telephone lines and communications lines and gas lines. So what you want to do there is, if you're going to be doing any work, any digging in your yard, give at least 3 days. Call in to Miss Utility. That's 811 nationwide. Call in to 811, and they'll come out. You tell them where you're going to be digging, and they'll mark any utilities that are in that area so you can do it safely. Because a lot of times people forget about the underground lines. And
Exactly.
You can absolutely get just as injured on that underground line as you can the overhead lines that we talk and we see so much.
That is so important. I've also heard people say things like when there's storms, bad storms, some trees come down, wires come down. I heard a story about a man calling up and saying, like, oh yeah, your line was in the middle of the road and I moved it over for you.
Oh man, that's scary.
Oh yeah, don't ever touch a down line.
No,
even if you think, because they
please.
think, well, the power's out in the neighborhood, so it can't be energized, but you never know, right?
That's absolutely true. And I've actually seen that, where things you would think, gosh, it's got to be de-energized because it's down. Well, that's one of the most hazardous things that can happen is a wire that's a low-hanging wire, right? So if it comes out of one of our insulators and it's hanging down, within reach, anywhere within reach of the ground, there's nothing there to cause that line to become de-energized, because our lines are looking for a fault, right? They're fused. We have protective equipment it's looking for that fault, and if it doesn't see that fault, it's not going to operate and it's not going to de-energize.
Right.
So it could be in a situation where you would think, well, surely it's de-energized. But our crews, you just saw Gary come in. Our linemen go through an extensive training program, and they have special tools and equipment. So we're going to go out and we're going to test that. We're going to test that line. We have special tools to do that. We're going to tag it. We're going to de-energize it, and we're going to ground it before we ever get on it. So if we're going to do it, and they've gone through almost a 6-year apprenticeship program to learn how to work on it, and they have all these tools and equipment and special gear, none of our people would ever go up and touch that because it can be energized.
Right.
And there's no way of knowing until you actually do the things that we just talked about to test it.
Now, if someone has a generator working, can that feed energy back onto an area which you think was de-energized?
That's a great question. And yes, absolutely it can. So the proper way to use a generator in a storm, and a lot of people have them, is you take that generator and it's a standalone, it's producing electricity. It's a standalone piece of equipment, and you plug in, let's say, your refrigerator. If a storm's been going on for a long amount of time and you want to plug your refrigerator in to keep all your food safe, you can plug that device directly into the generator, and now you're powering your refrigerator. Or you can get an electrician come out and have a whole home generator and have that automatic flop over. That's a better way. Now you've got standby generator. But unfortunately, there are people that do it the wrong way. And if somebody does it the wrong way, I won't get into how they do that, but if they do it the wrong way and there's no automatic flop over, it can absolutely backfeed through your home into our transformer and backfeed. So the transformer will work either way. It takes our distribution line voltage, which can be anywhere from 19,000 volts to 2,400 volts, and it converts it into the voltage that you use in your home, 120, 240. So 120 is going to be powering your light bulbs and that sort of thing, and 240 is typically what's going to power your stove or your dryer, coming from us. Well, it'll do the same thing. That transformer doesn't care. It'll work either way. So if they plug in a generator incorrectly, the meter's still set. It'll go out through that transformer, and it'll energize that overhead line.
And this is why when there are storms and outages and wires are down, sometimes our crews have to wait for it to be grounded.
Right. That's
right?
what
I mean, they do. Not
that's
sometimes.
what we do.
They
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
wait.
We go out. We're the ones that actually we go out and ground it. Now, sometimes you'll see our like our tree crews, because they don't have the special equipment that you just saw Gary use. They're experts in cutting trees.
Yes.
But they're not electrical workers. So our crews will come out and they'll take the steps necessary for our tree crews. So just like we just talked about.
And they'll ground it.
Right.
They'll make sure that both sides are open as
that's correct.
The term is, and that means that no electricity is flowing
on
those lines.
That's correct, in either direction. And for our tree trimmers, we even ground on either side of where their work zone is to
we
make
don't
sure
want
it's safe.
anybody trimming their own trees around power lines.
Not around power
Not
lines.
around power
that's
lines,
when it's time to call. Yeah, if you look up and you're thinking, gosh, I need to trim this tree in my yard, please look around and see if there are any power lines anywhere in the area. And if there are any power lines in the area, they could call us and say, hey, I need to trim this tree that's around our power lines, and we could have one of our tree crews that are experts come out and make that safe.
You know, we were talking before about lines being down. What if the ground is wet? Does that pose even more danger?
Well, so if a wire comes down and it comes in contact with the earth, what it does is it goes. Electricity is always going to be trying to find every path to ground, which is one of the ways it's predictable. It's always going to do that, but it also can become hazardous. So what it does, if you think about a down energized conductor in contact with the earth, it's going to try to go out, and what it does is it's called a voltage gradient. And as it goes out, if you think about if you threw a rock or a pebble into a pond of water, and you see the concentric rings around, the voltage drops down quickly. So if 19,920 volts is our higher distribution voltage, if it goes in, if you're 3 feet away, it might only be 12,000 volts, for example, from 19,000, or even less. It depends. There's a lot of variables there, but just keep in mind, it's going to go to the voltage gradient, or the voltage drop is going to be, it's going to be significant at a short distance, about 3 feet. If you think about the typical step is about 3 feet. So as you're walking, that's what's called step potential. As you're walking, one foot can be at one potential and your other foot can be at the other potential. The problem there is that creates, because we're a resistor, it creates an electrical path. And that electrical path can flow through your body and then cause problems. So that's why a down conductor to the earth, you want to stay as far away as possible. That's our recommendation.
At least 30 feet.
That's the
at
minimum.
Least. We
want you to stay as far away as possible.
Yes.
So if you see a down conductor, call us, right? Call the power company and say, hey, I've got a down conductor. If you've hit a conductor, or call 911.
Yeah, call 911.
Call 911 or call us. But if you call 911, they're going to get us out there.
Yes.
But you want to get the pros out there like Gary that have the right tools and equipment, the right training, and they can make it safe and repair it.
1-866-366-4357 is the helpline, and that is 866-DOM-HELP. But if you can't remember that and you see a down line, call 911, because police will come out, keep people away, and also they'll call us.
Please don't walk over there. Please don't walk over there, get close to it, and please don't, like you said, please don't touch it.
So you have some training videos out there. Tell me what they're for, who they're for.
We do. So we created a trailer, and it actually works the same way we were talking about, like if somebody has a generator
with
hooked
an electric
up the wrong
wire,
way.
an electric live wire trailer.
Right. We use a generator to actually feed that. So what we do is we actually have primary voltage on it. We created it for our employees to see how it works and see what could happen if they have an electrical arc or something like that. So we quickly learned, hey, it'd be great to take this thing out and show it to first responders. When I say first responders, police, fire departments, rescue, people that, just like we talked about, the car hits a pole, right? They're going to be the first responders. Generally, it's going to be a police officer that shows up first. So we created that video to help train them. And so safety specialists, we've got them all across the whole company, if you think about the whole state of Virginia, down in northeastern North Carolina, they go out to firefighters and they use the video that we have that's available.
I know, it's about a half an hour long. You also have a shorter version.
We do, for the homeowners. So, yeah, so that one was 30 minutes long, and it's very popular. I don't know what the number is now, but at one point it was somewhere near 2 million views for a 30-minute video.
We have a little short version for everybody.
Great.
And everybody can learn. So I want you to watch this and see what happens when objects strike a live wire.
Electricity has become a vital part of our everyday life. In fact, we don't even have to give it a second thought. But there are situations where the inherent hazards of working around electricity can become a problem, and that's what this video is all about. Sometimes after a storm, limbs can fall down and get in contact with our primary. There's no way of knowing that that limb has become energized, but we'll show here that limbs can, especially if they're wet, conduct electricity. In this demonstration, we illustrate how a car can become energized after a vehicle accident if a down power line comes in contact with the vehicle. Whenever you're working with a ladder or anything that would extend your reach, it's important that you look for overhead power lines. In this demonstration, we show how a ladder can conduct electricity and create a hazardous path to ground. Whenever you're planning to do any digging in your yard, it's important to call 811 to get the underground utilities marked. Once those utilities have been installed and the grass grows over, there's no way of knowing otherwise. In this demonstration, we'll show what happens if you don't get those underground utilities marked and you dig into an underground power line. This demonstration illustrates how quickly an incorrectly installed generator can backfeed primary voltage on our lines.
So now the worker holding that stick, the bar, did not get hurt.
Right.
Go over again, why didn't he get hurt?
So our employees have a lot of, as you saw Gary, so they have all that gear on and they're wearing rubber gloves and sleeves, and that stick is actually insulated. It's made of fiberglass, it's insulated, and we actually test our sticks. We actually wet test our sticks to make sure that they're not going to allow electricity to be conducted through that piece of fiberglass tool.
Okay. All right, excellent.
That's how they're staying safe.
Yeah, and who do you, what kinds of organizations could benefit from seeing that video, or the longer one that we talked about?
So like we talked about, so there's a 30-minute video that's out there, and that's been very popular. So that one is geared towards first responders, but anybody that's, what I would say is their career, right, whatever their occupation is, that puts them in the hazard of working around an overhead power line especially, or even underground. We have an underground segment in that section as well. Could really benefit from the 30-minute video. And our safety specialists have traveled around, and what they'll do is they'll show that video. So if you think about a fire department, they'll go in and visit that fire department in their safety meeting. They'll show the video, they'll pause the video, they'll allow time for questions, and they'll talk about what's going on during the video. The 2-minute video, any homeowner, your children, if you really want your children to learn about the electricity and what the hazards around it and what to do to stay safe. That 2-minute video, we created that specifically for homeowners, just because a 30-minute video version was kind of a little long for the typical homeowner. So the 2-minute video was created just for homeowners to watch in a 2-minute segment to learn a lot about electrical safety.
You know, it's something that maybe a lot of people don't know about.
They absolutely don't know about it, Peggy, because I've gone out and giving warning notices back. I've been doing this for almost 37 years. And so I've gone out and given warning notices to framing crew, for example. And they said, man, I'm glad you, I thought they'd be, upset that I was coming out and stopping them and telling them, hey, watch out for this power line. You can't work till we get this thing moved. And they were actually grateful. They thanked me because they said that their words to me was, we were afraid we were going to get shocked. Well, when I think about getting shocked, I'm thinking if anybody's ever touched the spark plug on their lawnmower, right, and you feel a little jolt. Well, this is going to be different than that. If you come in contact with especially one of our higher voltage lines, you may not survive it. It's going to be it's not going to be just a shock. It's going to be life changing.
You will be,
or ending, maybe.
At the least, severely injured.
Severely injured, yes.
Yeah, I mean, electricity is really nothing to take for granted or to mess around with, or to not take the appropriate precautions and safety measures.
Absolutely not. And that's why I'm thrilled that you're doing this show, so people can. The people that wouldn't typically see this, right? Our guys are in safety meetings every week, and that's what we do. We're talking about electrical safety all the time, but most people don't get exposed to that, or maybe don't think about that. So that's why your show is so great, to get the message out to more people.
We'll get it out there and try to get as many people as possible to get the message, the safety message, safety first. We'll keep you safe.
Thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Mike. We really appreciate you coming in and highlighting this important topic.
I enjoyed it. Thank you.
And thanks for watching Actions Speak Louder. We hope you join us next time to learn more about how Dominion Energy is working toward a sustainable future while supporting our customers and communities. You can find links to all of our Actions Speak Louder programs on YouTube by searching Peggy Fox Actions Speak Louder playlist, or follow me on LinkedIn or Facebook. And many thanks to the staff here at Fairfax Public Access, where this is being recorded. Take care and be safe.